Hello, students, and welcome to the first day of the Graphic Novel Literature course with me, Mr. Kraus. This video is designed for those students who were absent from our live Zoom class. The agenda for our class today is first to do a welcome and then establish some class norms, talk about how to navigate our class course on Canvas, do a little bit of a syllabus walkthrough, right, with an emphasis on the format of the first 4 weeks, and then a little more community building, and then if we had time, get into our first reading. So first, welcome and introductions, right? My name is Mr. Kraus. I've been teaching at Seneca Valley for 7 years now. This is my 16th year teaching. During our class, I'm going to ask you to turn on your camera and unmute your microphone and introduce yourself, right? So when you attend class for the first time, that's what I'll ask you to do at the beginning. I'll ask you to just give me your name or a nickname that you prefer to go by, and then choose one of these 3 things to kind of respond to, right? How did you hear about this course? What's your favorite comic or graphic novel and why, briefly? And or another option is, what superpower would you like to possess? So for example, if I went, my name is Mr. Kraus, right? I prefer that you call me Mr. Kraus, right? And my favorite comic or graphic novel is Watchmen. I feel like every single time I have read that book, and I've read it more than 10 times, I find something new every single time. And I still think that it's brilliant. So I'll ask you to do something similar at the beginning of our class together for the first time as well. At the beginning of our class, right, establishing class norms, these norms will be posted at the beginning of every class, and I'll read through them, right? As a reminder, everything you say, do, or type is recorded, so please remember to keep it school appropriate. I'm going to ask you to please turn your camera on, but keep your microphone off until asked to unmute. Use the chat to ask questions. And as always, there is no saving, downloading, or taking pictures of our class ever. You're watching a pre-recorded video of the class. I never use the Zoom video, right, and post that on Canvas. I always pre-record video just like the one you're watching now for students who are absent. We're a small class, so I'm going to ask you to please turn on your camera and keep them on to the best of your ability. Sometimes we have technical issues, and I understand, but class just feels so much better when everyone turns their cameras on, right? Especially a small class like ours. I mentioned this earlier, right? I never post a recording of our live classes, so you don't have to worry about, your image being posted out there on the internet. I always pre-record the lessons and directions, then post them on Canvas before class. And I'll talk about this a little bit later, but if you're ever absent from class, it's expected that you watch the video that I prepared for absent students. Okay. If you need to step away for your computer for a second, right, you've got to use the restroom, you need to just go get a drink of water, just let me know, right? Either type in the chat, I will be back for something, right? Or there's a button on your Zoom reactions, right, that you can use that has a little clock. That means you're on a little bit of a timeout. Just make sure that you let me know when you come back from your little break as well. We'll do a lot of reading and discussing together, right, especially in these first 4 weeks. I don't expect you to be perfect, right? If you read something and you mispronounce a word, it's fine, right? What I do expect is for you to make an effort, okay? Everybody in this class is all working towards the same goal, right? We all like comics, we all like graphic novels, but we also want to make sure that we're kind of understanding them and able to discuss them as much as possible. So I don't need you to be perfect. I do need you to make an effort. If you don't understand something, please ask questions, right? Again, if you don't want to do it in front of the entire class, you can just do it with me privately in the chat. Sometimes your question might be good for everybody to hear, so I may repeat your question to the whole class, but I will not use your name. And then lastly, trust me or go with it, right? I will ask you to do some things, like read this passage to me or talk about this picture or something to that effect, right? I only do those things because I think they are in your best interest, right? As a student, to help you understand things and to build our classroom environment. I have been teaching for as long as many of you have been alive. right? 16 years. So trust me, I know what I'm doing, and I have your best interest at heart. I never make you do something just for the sake of making me feel better. Okay. Let's talk about navigating Canvas. When you go to our homepage, the first thing that you'll notice is similar to all your other classes, right? There's the What Are We Learning This Week button. In order to get to that material for the week, you'll click on the dates. Another way of accessing that is by just clicking on the Modules tab in the upper left-hand corner for our course as well. Once you do that, you'll notice that they're all set up the same way. I will always put the most recent module at the top, right? That way, when it loads much faster, right? Just stay at the top of the page. And then, as noted before, right, I always pre-record videos for students who are absent from our live Zoom class. And again, if you are absent from class or if you show up late, excessively late, let's say like 10 minutes late, you're expected to watch the video for absent students to help you get caught up. All assignments will also be posted here, etc. Navigating the Zoom information button right down here at the bottom. Once you click on that, as a reminder, you must be logged into your MCPS student account in order to access Zoom meetings. If you click on our class link and it doesn't seem to work, then please just manually enter the meeting ID and the passcode, right? Log in using your MCPS student account and then put those things in manually. The link should work. I've already tested it. For those days where you want to work with me outside of class, either during the academic check-ins on Wednesdays, which are from 12:55 to 1:15, or on student support after school, right, from 2:45 to 3:15, please use this Zoom link. Right? It's the same link for whichever one of those you want to attend. Again, if the link doesn't work from simply clicking on it, please just manually put in the ID and the passcode. The next item I want to talk about is the teacher contact and the tech support items. Right? First, with teacher contact, when you click on that, I have very brief things here. Right? There's a little bit of information about me, like a poster I put together at the beginning of the year. You can view that if you'd like. My office hours and virtual check-ins, right? Again, from 12:55 to 1:15 on Wednesdays, and from 2:45 to 3:15 after school, and then use that Zoom information link. If you ever need to get a hold of me, the best email address to use is this one here, my mcps.net address. That one is much faster than some of the other email addresses I have. The other button I wanted to bring your attention to is the tech support button, right? If you have trouble with your Chromebook, you need to order a new device or something, etc. When you click on that, it'll take you to this page. Please click on the link to go to the information provided by MCPS and the Media Center on resolving technical issues. All right, let's talk about the course information tab, right? When you click on that, you'll see these two items are listed. The first thing is the schedule for the later half of our year. And please note that this schedule is still a working draft, and some administrators may switch some days around, etc. If that ever happens, this link will be updated. So please, and I'll always kind of make some sort of announcement to help you stay in the loop. So for example, this normal structure, right, is A, B, Wednesday's a virtual check-in day, A, B. But as you can see, next week and the week after, we have a strange schedule because of the holidays, right? These days that we have off, right? A, B, B, A, or B, A, A, B. So just please, if you're ever unsure, right, you could always click on this link to double check what is our schedule, right? And when do your classes meet? When do they end, etc. Okay, let's take a look at the syllabus, right? Still in that course information tab. If you click on the syllabus, the first thing that I kind of go over here at the very top, right, is the units of instruction. So the first thing that we'll be working on is called the medium, its history, and the terms of analysis, right? The medium is comic books and graphic novels. What is the history behind them? And then what words, vocabulary, etc. do we need in order to properly analyze and discuss graphic novels? The next unit of instruction is called History and Memoir, right? We're going to take a look at graphic novels that are talking about periods of history, like major periods of history, or are accounts of people's lives and the things that happened to them in their lives. And then the last unit of instruction is the hero's journey, right? And keeping things fresh. Tracking, how does the hero go from somebody who's an unknown entity in the beginning to someone who everybody reveres and looks up to, etc. Okay. The major common tasks that we'll be focusing on, there are 4 of them. This is for all 4, we do all 4 of these over the course of the semester. So the first one that we'll be working on is the analyze one or more stylistic techniques that an artist uses in a text. The next one would be develop a detailed plan for depicting a scene from your life in graphic novel format. If you are not someone who is artistically inclined, if you don't feel that you draw well, don't worry about it. You're not graded on your drawing skills, okay? We'll come back to that. And numbers 1 and 2, those are the 2 things that we focus on for third quarter. Fourth quarter, we begin looking at comparing the stylistic and narrative elements of 2 superhero narratives produced by different artists, and then tracing the archetypal character's journey through a graphic novel, noting the artist's departures and innovations. Okay, so these are things that I'll elaborate more on once we kind of get there and after we build our vocabulary. The text that we're going to study, I won't read through all of these. You can read these on your own. But the major one that I want to point out is this one here. It's called Understanding Comics, The Invisible Art by Scott McCloud. Think of this as like our graphic novel textbook, right? So we're going to work with this over the next 4 weeks, occasionally dipping into some of these other texts and maybe like some snippets from random comic books, et cetera, as well, just to kind of help illustrate some of the points that he makes there. This is this is what's called a seminal text, right? It's very important for our understanding of discussing, analyzing, and discussing and analyzing graphic novels. Okay, and again, you can take a look at this. Later, I'm going to ask you to take a deeper look at the syllabus. But these are the texts that I plan on having us read through our course. Okay. If you scroll down in the syllabus, you'll also notice that I have this structure. And those of you who have had me in another class, you've seen this before. But those of you who have not had me in a class before, this is the weekly breakdown, right? You can always look at the syllabus and you can tell, what are we doing each day, right? Day 1, day 2, day 1, day 2. What assignments are graded and in what category. So for example, right, the first assignment will be a graphic novel terms notes check that will go under the category of practice and prep, right? 10% of your quarter grade. And then later on down here, for example, during week 2, right, comic from a comic activity is something we'll work on. And that is your first all task assignment. Okay, so you could always kind of use this to let you know, what are we doing from day to day and what assignments are graded and what column or category do they fall under. There are also links, if you take a look to bookmarks, to more specific information. So for example, that Unit 1 focus, if you click on that, right, you'll see that a little bookmark note comes up. And if you click on the bookmark, it'll take you down to the bottom of the document where I go over the specific outline of the units of study, right? So what are the enduring understandings? What questions should you be able to answer? What are the common tasks we're working on, etc. Okay. If you scroll further down, you'll also notice that I planned out for the fourth quarter as well. But this is under constant construction, right? So quarter 3 is completely done, but quarter 4 is still a little bit of a mystery, right? We don't know exactly if we're going to be back in the classroom or not physically. I still haven't gotten confirmation about when the last date is for seniors. And so that may impact that may impact the information here. I may end up changing some of the graphic novels or changing the common task, et cetera, to suit this situation better. So for now, please ignore the quarter 4 more materials until I tell you that I've finished updating them. it'll be within this same document. So just kind of focus on quarter 3. All right. So at this time, what I ask students to do is go back to the top of the document and read through the quarter 3 materials, including the text that we'll be reading. Look at the bookmark materials at the bottom, right, about the 3 units of our focus. And then I had students kind of respond to one of these 4 questions. What I'd like you to do now is please pause the video and do what you see here on the left. If you have any questions, I'm going to ask you at the end of the video to send me an email with those questions, and I'll do my best to answer them as quickly as possible. So please pause the video and follow the directions on the left side of your screen now. Okay, so if we move on to the next part, right? The next thing that we did in class with as much time as we had is we started to look at our first reading, right? Understanding comics. When you go to our module, you'll see that there's a hyperlink to the PDF. Please keep in mind that if you are not logged into your device using your MCPS account, you won't be able to view the PDF. Okay, this is something you need to make sure that you do every day for class, okay, is be logged in with your MCPS account. When you open that up, that's located under this week's modules, right? As you read, you're going to need to be on the lookout for vocabulary, and here is your capture sheet. So all of these words are going to come up within the text. They're not in chronological order, they're in alphabetical order, okay? We are going to read this in class, like we're going to read through the PDF of this book in class together. And as we come across these, if you notice a word, we're going to help each other kind of identify them. That way we can quickly add in definitions. So we started on this during class, and I will be putting a note underneath this video that you're watching to let you know how far into the PDF we got. But again, your job is to basically kind of keep track of these things as they come up and write yourself a note. All right, and that was it for our first day, right? Thank you for watching. The only action items that we have is to fill in any vocabulary that we came across in our reading of Understanding Comics. Again, I'll post what page we read up to at the bottom or at the top of this video that you're watching so you can get caught up. And as a reminder, academic check-in is from 12:55 to 1:15 on Wednesday, and student support is from 2:45 to 3:15 Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in class soon.